Okay guys, so here we are, comparison test. This is comparing. So this is a 1gd-ftv, the 2.8 litre diesel engine with much stricter emissions requirements. Completely different EGR system. Hard to know exactly what position the EGR flow is at, other than we did that other video showing you it was at idle. It was set, the engine was running on 75% exhaust gases, right? So you've got an air filter and an intercooler and everything to make it nice and cold, efficient, and we know that works, but they're feeding 75% exhaust gases into the exhaust. Now let's be clear about this. On older vehicles, as soon as you touch the accelerator, start accelerating, the EGR valve closed. That's like, you know, early Euro standards. Once you get to Euro 3, 4, 5 and onwards, it's all bad news. I'll give you an example on a 1kd. We've done a lot of testing with a 1kd, so Euro 4, say like a 120 Prado or 150, very similar to each other, if not the same. And that is, you can be accelerating quite moderately from say 60 to 70 k's an hour, and your EGR valve is no less than 20% open, okay? Once you really get into it, like, you know, not full throttle, but look, I haven't measured the exact percentage. We can do that another day, more videos and whatever. But you've really got to get into it to close the EGR valve. And the more you get into it, the sooner you're going to back off. And as soon as you back off, it's open, 60, 70, 80%. So you've got massive amount, and as soon as you back off, that's when you've got your unburnt fuel and your soot, and boof, there it all goes into your intake. So don't think that driving it hard is going to work. That's not going to work. You're just going to have a big fuel bill and more speeding tickets in the mail. Now back to the 1gd. What we do know for sure is this is with the EGR valve closed. So it's on close. Activate the EGR valve, closed at the moment. So the MAF reading in the middle there, 12 grams, that's all the air going through the air filter, the air box, the way the engine would run best. Okay, so about 12 grams, same as the previous video. Go and check that if you haven't seen it yet. And of course we've got the video where that little plate goes. I'm not saying whether it works or not. I'm not talking about legalities of it or not. I'm just letting you know something that's out there and where they say it goes. And it's got a 13mm hole in it. Now this is what it does. You're about to see what it does because we've temporarily put one in this vehicle just to see what it does, okay? Now, with the EGR system closed and everything operating beautifully, 12 grams. On the last video, I can tell you it was dropping down to about, what was it? It was about 3 grams, which is how we worked 75% clean and 75% exhaust gases and 25% clean filtered air. So we'll just go and let that EGR valve do its thing at idle, right? So we've clicked that, so we're not controlling it anymore, it's off. So the EGR valve's back to normal. Okay, so a little bit better than 3 grams. So instead of being 75%, we're almost 50-50, not quite, okay? So you got a bit over 5, so it's changed it a little bit. Now what you got to understand is the engine at idle is using the least amount of air, okay? So that balance, how much it changes at idle with that hole there, the flow reduction plate, it reduces the flow, but it has the least effect at idle, which is kind of good because that's where it probably matters least and where you want your EGR system working. As you accelerate and increase speed and the engine uses more air, that's where it's gonna, in theory, this is, on the 1kds it's not theory, it's well and truly proven. With a 7mm hole, the EGR stays clean, alloy in color, with nothing else, just the plate, no catch cans. In these vehicles, this is all in theory. So in theory, as the engine speed increases, the need for more air increases, that balance is going to get better, more to the advantage of the air filter and the turbocharged intercooled air rather than dirty exhaust gases, because it just can't get through the hole. And typically you're not running the engine at this sort of speed at idle. You're running it at about 2,000 revs, more or less. Of course, if you drive it harder, while you're accelerating, you'll probably get less EGR, especially if you floor it. It will close. That's what the intercooler is there for, right? So, but don't believe that as soon as you accelerate lightly, it's closing. You're getting the engine, that's why it's all sluggish, and that's why there's an intercooler there. We know intercooled air works better, but once you get into it, look, I'll just about guarantee if you floor it, the EGR system's probably going to be shut off and you're running on your cold intercooled air. So, you know, when you're overtaking, whatever, and you just give it everything it's got, that's when you're getting your cold intercooled air, and that's one of the only times you're going to get it, unfortunately. So there's the plate, that's what it does. Now we'll give it a little rev. I mean, look, we can increase the engine rev, you'll see that'll increase with it. Pity we haven't got a separate way to measure exactly what's going through that hole. So you can see, obviously, I don't know, there's no, look, I'll tell you, how about we do this, right? We'll set it on 3,000 revs, we'll see what that does. So let me bring it up. We've got to get it steady, hang on. Okay, that's at 3.1. So at 3.1, it's pulling about 65 grams, right? I'll try not to move the foot. I'll try and press the button. Where is it? I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so now we've sorted out. Oh no. Oh, that active test won't work because you're not allowed to put your foot on the accelerator, so that won't work. Oh well, we tried. Yeah, as soon as you touch the accelerator, let's test that theory. So let's. We've got all the data back. MAF's on 5, so the EGR system's operational. Let's shut it off. So we shut off the EGR. Your MAF's gone up to around the 12. Beautiful, the way you like to see it. And if you were to go and see one of these experts that can do remapping and stuff like that and shut off your EGR valve for you, then that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a reading like that and know that your EGR system intake is going to stay nice and clean. But also know that, you know, you'll be putting a little bit more nitrogen oxide, but it's rob Peter to pay Paul anyhow, because you're going to increase carbon monoxides and all other emissions in doing so. So, you know, there's a few people out there that do that. So if you're interested in that, then check out on our groups, you know, like, you know, what group? Look, probably hashtag 1KD Forever Crew. We'll get them onto 1GD Forever Crew as well, and you can contact those people if you want to organise to have that done. It's up to you. Talk with them and work out any pros and cons, adverse effects. Now we've got the EGR shut off. Now I'm just going to touch the accelerator and educate us as to how long it takes or at what revs that active test will stop at, right? So I've just touched the accelerator now. There it is, straight away. So as soon as you touch the accelerator with this software, the active test of the EGR valve being shut off disengages and the EGR valve's back to normal operation. So, which you'll see when the data comes back, the MAF reading will be up around the 5 to 6. The MAF reading, yeah, a bit over 5 anyway. So look, the plate helped a little bit at idle, not a lot, but what hopefully you understand is when you're driving the vehicle, it's going to have a higher advantage, as in, you know, if it's gone from 75% to say 50% at idle, it might go from, when you're driving, it might be, let's just say it's 10% exhaust gases, it might go as low as 3 or 4% exhaust gases, which is a lot better. Reducing it a lot is better than nothing for the sake of about $10, and your EGR system still works. So you might be bringing it back to a Euro 4 or Euro 3 spec EGR kind of thing. Anyway guys, hope that helps. Thanks for watching. If you want more informative information like this, hit subscribe, turn notifications on, and thanks for your support.